Hi there, Year 8. This week you were scheduled to take part in a salmon fish cake demo in your HE class with your home economics teacher. Obviously this is not possible, so we are taking the demo to you in the comfort of your own home. Each school year we try hard to include one fish dish in amongst all those other yummy Year 8 recipes, and this is the one that has been picked for you, and we think you're really going to like it. We just want to say thank you so much for sending in some of your homemade creations. We have loved to see these pictures brightening up our inboxes, and it's fab to see your practical skills develop within your home environment. We're really looking forward to seeing these in reality in Year 9. This is an online recipe from BBC Good Food. Some of you will already be familiar with this website, but it is jam-packed full of recipes from top chefs that have been tried and tested. There's thousands of recipes on BBC Online, and my top tip would be to look for the star rating. If you see it's got 4 or 5 stars, it usually means this is a successful recipe that you're going to love, just like this one. So let's get going. These are the ingredients that you're going to need. Some floury potatoes, salmon fillets, a wee touch of tomato ketchup, mustard, zest of half a lemon, some parsley, some dill, flour, 1 egg, some dried breadcrumbs and sunflower oil. For this recipe we're going to use 3 medium-sized floury potatoes. Floury potatoes are potatoes like Maris Piper, King Edward. They're soft, they've got a dry texture when cooked, and they work really well for mashing, baking and making into chips. Find a peeler that you're comfortable with and take care. Remember to peel away from you and discard any of the peelings into the correct food waste bin. It's quite sad that we have to peel the skin for this recipe, because as we've learnt already, as we peel and remove the skin, we're also removing the fibre. But good news is the potato provides us with lots of energy. It's a great source of carbohydrate. It keeps you fuller for longer. Remember to use your bridge technique whenever you're cutting your potato, and cut your potato into even-sized chunks. You're going to pop your potato chunks carefully into a saucepan, taking care not to scald yourself with the boiling water that you will pour on top. You're going to cook them on a medium to high heat for roughly about 15 minutes. If you want to check to see that they're ready, all you need to do is get a table knife, pop it in, and if it slides in really easily, that's a good sign your potatoes are good to go. Drain your potatoes using a saucepan lid or a colander if that's easier, and do that over the sink. Leave them to steam dry for a few minutes, and that helps just to remove some of the moisture. Then you're going to mash the life out of these, and remember, mashing is a skill we mastered when we made our champ earlier on in the school year. Now on to the breadcrumbs. The recipe calls for dried breadcrumbs, and I'm going to show you later how to make these really easily without using any of the fancy gadgets like food processors. I used a combination of wholemeal and white bread. Remember, a simple switch to wholemeal bread is a super way to boost your daily fibre intake, which we recently found out prevents constipation and other bowel disorders such as diverticulitis. Carefully cut 2 to 3 slices of bread into chunks, pop them on a baking tray and bake at 180 degrees for about 30 minutes. And don't forget your oven gloves. While these are baking, we're going to get our salmon fillets cooked up. This time of year salmon cooks beautifully, wrapped in foil and popped on the barbecue. We're going to use the indoor grill instead today. Remember, when you're grilling, the door should be open, and the use of oven gloves is also recommended. Grilling is a super healthy way to cook food, as any fat will drip away from the food product. Good news is salmon is packed to the max with goodness, and there is very little fat in it. It's really high in protein, which is great for growth and repair. It's full of omega-3 fats, which is great brain fuel, and can also help promote a healthy heart. Remember, from our 8 tips for eating well, the government recommend that we eat 2 portions of fish each week, including at least 1 portion of oily fish, something we as a nation aren't really that good at. Salmon cooks really quickly, about 5 to 6 minutes, and while it's cooking, we are going to manage our time effectively and check back in with the breadcrumbs. In HE we use the word dovetailing. This can often involve doing more than one task at one time, and this would be a common scene in any kitchen. At this stage we could pop the crusty crumbs into a food processor. However, if you can't get your hands on one, all you need to do is simply pop crumbs into a steel plastic food bag, and you're going to bash the life out of them until they're really fine crumbs. Use a rolling pin, and we're going to use these really shortly. The salmon is looking good to go. this point, you're going to cool the salmon, remove the skin, and place the salmon into a bowl. Break up the salmon into chunky flakes using a fork. Next, you're going to pop in 1 teaspoon of mustard. I use Dijon because that's what I had in the house. You're going to add to that 2 teaspoons of ketchup, and then you're going to use the fine side of the grater to remove the zest of half a lemon. Remember to please take care when you're grating. Lemons are full of vitamin C, which can really help with our immune system just to give it that little boost. If you've got some fresh parsley, about a tablespoon, you can add that. I didn't have any, so I improvised a little and used dry parsley. Then you're going to add a heaped tablespoon of dill. Dill is a really flavourful herb and it can add a nutritional boost to your diet. It includes vitamin C again, we've heard about that already today, and vitamin A. It's quite delicate and has feathery green leaves and is often used to complement fish dishes. I'm going to grind a touch of black pepper and sea salt into the mix. These ingredients will then be transferred into a larger bowl with our potato and our salmon flakes. The end is almost in sight, and for this we will need 3 tablespoons of plain flour. We'll need 1 egg lightly beaten, and to do this just cradle your egg in one hand, crack it in the centre using a table knife, and remember to discard your shell in the correct food bin. We'll also need 100 grams of our dry breadcrumbs that we've previously prepared. We're now going to divide our mixture roughly into 4 and shape into a patty. I'm going to set those to one side and you'll repeat that 3 times. At this point we're going to heat up our vegetable oil on a medium heat for a few minutes. As you can see, we've got a production line all set up for the fish cakes, starting with our flour, followed by our egg, and then our breadcrumbs. After you've coated them in the breadcrumbs, simply set them onto a plate and repeat with the other fish cakes. The recipe calls for us to fry our fish cakes. We don't encourage you to use frying as a method of cooking too often. However, to achieve that crispy fish cake finish, frying works really well. An alternative could be to grill or to bake your fish cakes. Once you remove them from the pan using a fish slice, place your fish cakes on kitchen roll to help absorb any excess fat. Serve your fish cakes with peas or salad and enjoy. Be creative with your presentation, area it. Sometimes less is more, especially if you're aiming for an effective contemporary finish.